Look at the screen in front of you. Or maybe look at a cup of water sitting on your table. Notice the small shadows it makes. Notice the quiet space around it. You are sitting in a room right now. Maybe it is your bedroom. Maybe it is your living room. The physical space around you might be very safe. The walls are strong. The roof is keeping the rain out. The physical world is still and calm. But you do not feel calm. You feel like you are running in a race. Your feet are not moving, but your heart is running fast. Your mind is like a machine that will not turn off. It is an application running in the background of your phone. You cannot see it on the main screen, but it is draining your battery. It is eating all your energy. You wake up tired. You go to sleep tired. The exhaustion is deep inside your bones, and this background noise is always there. It is whispering about tomorrow. It is shouting about yesterday. It tells you to be careful. It tells you that something bad is coming. You try to close the application, but you do not know how. This feeling has a name. We call it anxiety. We call it worry. We call it panic. But whatever name you use, the physical feeling is the same. Your chest feels tight. Your breath becomes shallow. You forget how to fill your lungs with fresh air. Your hands might feel cold. Your stomach feels completely tied in knots. This is not just a thought in your head. It is a full physical experience. Your whole body is responding to an invisible threat. Your whole body is preparing for a battle that is not even happening in the regular world. And then comes the heaviest part, the part that hurts the most. It is the guilt. If you grew up in a religious home, or if you listened to certain teachers, you probably heard a very dangerous message. You heard that worrying is a bad choice. You were told that if you have anxiety, it means you do not have enough faith. They told you that a good believer is always happy. They told you that a strong person always has perfect peace. They made you feel like your panic was a crime against heaven. Think about how much damage that simple message has caused. You were already carrying a heavy box of anxiety. The box was crushing your shoulders. And then, well-meaning people came and placed another heavy box on top of it. This second box is the box of shame. Now you are not just worried about your life. You are worried about your worry. You feel broken. You feel like a bad person. You look around at other people who seem so calm. You wonder why you are the only one who cannot fix this. You have tried all the simple advice. You tried to force a smile. You tried to just pray the feeling away. You stood in silent rooms and asked the panic to leave. But the panic stayed. And because the panic stayed, you thought heaven was ignoring you. You thought you were failing a strict test. You thought the ancient writers of the scripture were judging you. You imagined them looking down at you, shaking their heads, disappointed in your weakness. This is the tragic lie that so many of us have believed for so many long years. But I am here to tell you a deep truth. I am here to give you a very different diagnosis. It is not your fault. It is not a sin. It is an invisible drift. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is trying to protect you. It is trying to keep you safe from danger. The mechanism is just working too hard. The engine is running too hot. But you are not a bad person. You are not a weak person. You are simply a human being experiencing a human struggle. We need to completely change how we see this problem. We need to remove the guilt right now. You must drop the box of shame. Let it fall to the floor. You are allowed to feel afraid. The ancient scriptures do not demand that you feel perfect all the time. They do not teach toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is the false idea that you must smile while your heart is breaking. That is a modern invention. That is a cheap plastic version of true wisdom. The real ancient texts are full of blood and tears, and genuine human panic. When you read the ancient words carefully, you find a deep psychological empathy. The writers knew the dark hours. They knew the racing heart. They knew the sleepless nights. They did not write from a place of perfect calm. They wrote from the middle of the storm. They understood that mental health struggles are part of the human journey. They did not judge the panic. They documented it. They gave it a voice. They gave us permission to be fully human, with all of our messy, complicated, terrified feelings. So take a deep breath right now. Let the air fill your lungs. Hold it for a second and let it go. Hear these words clearly. You are not failing. You are not broken beyond repair. You are standing at the beginning of a very old path. Many people have walked this path before you. They felt exactly what you feel, and they found a way to navigate the dark. We are going to look at their map. We are going to see what they actually said about anxiety. And it is going to change everything. We are going to open the ancient map together. We are going to wipe away the dust of religious shame. We are going to look at the raw, honest human experience hidden in the text. You do not need to hide your shaking hands anymore. You do not need to apologize for your racing heart. You are in a safe place now. Let us begin the journey to understand what the ancient voices actually said about the loud storm in your mind. To truly understand this ancient map, we have to look at the words we use. Words are very powerful tools. They are not just simple sounds we make with our mouths. Words are containers. They hold deep history. They hold ancient wisdom. Sometimes, we use a word so often that we forget what is inside the container. We say the word worry every single day. We say it easily. We tell our friends not to worry. We tell ourselves not to worry. But we never stop to think about what the word actually means in its deepest roots. Let us open the container of the English word. Worry. We have to go far back in time. We have to go back to the Old English language, spoken many centuries ago. In that old language, the original word was wergen. It is a strange-sounding word, but its meaning is extremely clear and very physical. Wergen did not mean to have bad thoughts. It did not mean to feel a little sad. Wergen meant to strangle. It meant to grab a person or an animal by the throat and squeeze tightly. Think about how profound that is. The ancient people who created our language understood the psychology of panic. They knew that anxiety is not just a soft idea in your brain. It is a physical attack. When you are deeply worried, it literally feels like something invisible has grabbed your throat. It is hard to swallow. It is hard to breathe. Your mind is strangling your peace. Your fears are choking your joy. By understanding this ancient word, you realize your physical symptoms make perfect sense. You are being strangled by the unknown future. Now let us look at another word, the word anxiety. This word comes from a completely different ancient language. It comes from the ancient Latin language of the Roman Empire. The original Latin word is anxious. And beautifully, or perhaps tragically, it means almost the exact same thing. Anxious means to choke. It means to squeeze tight. Two different ancient cultures. Two different ancient languages. But they both described the exact same physical feeling. They both knew that fear grabs you by the neck and squeezes the warm air out of your lungs. It gives us a micro-metaphor to hold in our minds. A micro-metaphor is a small picture that explains a big idea. Anxiety is not a dark room. You cannot just open a door and walk out of a dark room. Anxiety is a tight coat. Imagine a very heavy winter coat made of thick wool. You put it on, and suddenly it shrinks. It wraps around your chest and pulls tight. You try to expand your ribs to breathe, but the coat pushes back. The coat is heavy. The coat is suffocating. This is the reality of the struggle. The biblical authors understood the tight coat. They wore it often. They did not just sit in beautiful green fields writing happy songs. They sat in cold stone prisons. They hid in deep caves. They felt the tight coat squeezing their chests. When you read the ancient poetry, you hear them gasping for air. You hear them crying out that the deep waters are rising up to their necks. They are describing the feeling of being strangled. They are describing wergens. They are describing anxious. They are describing exactly what you feel right now. But here is the most important shift in our thinking. We usually view this tight coat, this strangling feeling, as a murderer. We think it is an executioner coming to kill us. We think the feeling itself is the enemy. But what if it is not an executioner's sword? What if it is a surgeon blade? What if the pain has a medical purpose? We need another micro-metaphor to truly understand how the ancient writers approached their own panic. We need to look at the smoke alarm. Imagine the smoke alarm on the ceiling of your kitchen. When it senses danger, it makes a terrible noise. The sound is loud. The sound is piercing. It hurts your ears. It is impossible to ignore. You hate the sound of the smoke alarm. But the smoke alarm is not the fire. The smoke alarm is not trying to burn your house down. The smoke alarm is your friend. It is screaming because it wants to save your life. It is screaming because it senses a threat and wants you to wake up and take action. Your anxiety is a broken smoke alarm. It is loud. It is annoying. It hurts your chest and strangles your throat. But it is not the true enemy. Your nervous system is just trying to protect you. It senses a threat in the future. And it is screaming to keep you safe. The problem is that the alarm is too sensitive. It goes off when you are just making toast. It goes off when there is no real fire. But the intention of the alarm is pure. It is trying to help you survive. The ancient scriptural approach to anxiety is not to smash the smoke alarm with a heavy hammer. When strict religious people tell you to just stop worrying, they are telling you to smash the alarm. But the ancient writers did not do that. They listened to the alarm. They acknowledged the noise. They investigated the fire. They used the loud noise as a signal to turn their attention toward deeper truths. They did not fight the alarm. They let it ring, and they walked through the loud noise to find true peace on the other side. So we leave the smoke alarm alone. We let it make its loud noise. We thank our bodies for trying to protect us. Even when the protection feels like a tight coat, we remember the ancient roots of our words. We remember that being strangled by worry is a shared human experience. It is not a modern disease. It is an ancient battle, and because it is an ancient battle, there are ancient weapons we can use to survive it. To understand how to walk through this noise, we must look at history. We must look at two very different ancient men. They both heard the loud smoke alarm of anxiety in their minds. They both felt the tight, heavy coat of panic, but they responded in two completely different ways. Their stories are a double juxtaposition. A double juxtaposition is just a fancy way to say we are comparing two opposite paths. They show us what happens when we fight the alarm, and what happens when we listen to it. Let us travel back 3,000 years to the ancient Middle East. The first story is about a man who had everything. His name was King Saul. He was the first king of his nation. He was tall. He was handsome. He was powerful. He wore a heavy golden crown. He commanded huge armies. He lived in a beautiful palace and had servants to bring him anything he wanted. From the outside, his life looked completely perfect. He had all the wealth and status a human being could ever desire. But inside his mind, there was a raging storm. Inside his mind, the smoke alarm was screaming day and night. King Saul suffered from severe mental torment. The ancient texts describe a dark spirit terrifying him. In modern terms, we would say he had massive anxiety and deep paranoia. He was constantly afraid of losing his power. He was afraid of his enemies. He was even afraid of his closest friends. He felt the strangling hands of Worgen every single day. But Saul had the wrong mindset. He viewed his anxiety as an enemy that must be destroyed immediately. He wanted a quick fix. He refused to sit in the discomfort. He refused to learn from the pain. Because Saul fought the feeling destroyed him. When the panic became too loud, he reacted with violence and anger. He threw actual, physical spears at the people trying to help him. He stopped listening to wise voices. He made terrible, hasty decisions just to make the anxiety stop for a single moment. He tried to smash the smoke alarm, and because of this, he did not see the real fires burning around him. He lost his kingdom. He lost his mind. He lost his life. He had everything. But he failed because he could not handle the dark corridor of struggle. Now, let us look at the second story. It is about a man who had absolutely nothing. His name was David. Long before he became a famous king, David was a fugitive. He was hunted by King Saul. David had no palace. He had no army. He lived in the dirty dust. He slept in cold, damp caves in the wild desert. He had no food. He had no safety. Every time he closed his eyes, he knew someone was trying to kill him. His external world was a complete nightmare, and his internal world was also filled with absolute terror. David felt the exact same tight coat of anxiety that Saul felt. But David responded completely differently. David did not throw spears. David did not look for a quick distraction. Instead, David became a poet. He wrote down exactly what he was feeling. If you read the ancient songs he wrote in those dark caves, they are shocking. They are full of raw, bleeding panic. He wrote that his bones were shaking. He wrote that his heart was melting like hot wax. He wrote that salt tears were his only food day and night. He was completely honest about his severe anxiety. David succeeded where Saul failed because David embraced the concept of the corridor. Imagine your struggle with anxiety is a long, dark hallway. It is a corridor. King Saul viewed the corridor as a prison cell. He tried to break down the walls. He kicked the heavy doors. He screamed at the ceiling, and the roof collapsed on his head. David knew the corridor was not a prison. He knew it was a pathway of deep change. The hallway was dark, yes. The hallway was terrifying, yes. But it was moving toward a clear destination. It was not permanent. David allowed himself to walk through the dark corridor. He did not try to skip the hard parts. He let the anxiety exist. He sat in the cave and felt the violent shaking in his bones. He brought his panic directly to his Creator. He did not pretend to be perfectly happy. He complained. He cried, he argued. He processed his terror out loud. He used the loud noise of the smoke alarm as a prompt to seek deeper connection. He let the struggle change him. He let the high pressure turn him into a diamond. This is the profound difference. The man with everything failed because he demanded instant comfort. The man with nothing succeeded because he accepted the slow, painful process of the dark corridor. The ancient texts are telling us a very clear message. You cannot shortcut your healing. You cannot throw a fast spear at your panic and expect it to die. You have to write your own honest poetry in the dark. You have to walk through the hallway, step by painful step, trusting that there is a wooden door at the very end. The corridor is a necessary space. It teaches us things we can never learn in the bright, warm sunlight. In the dark hallway, we learn true humility. We learn that we cannot control the big universe. We learn to surrender our tight grip on tomorrow. Saul refused to surrender, and he broke into pieces. David surrendered everything, and he was completely rebuilt. The ancient wisdom tells us that the breakdown is often the very first step of the breakthrough. The anxiety is not the end of your story. It is the dark corridor that leads to the next beautiful chapter. So look at the corridor in front of you. Look at the long, dark hallway of your own anxiety. You have a clear choice to make today. You can be like the angry king who had everything. You can throw spears and scream at the stone walls and demand instant comfort. Or you can be like the honest poet in the cold cave. You can accept the dark hallway. You can write your painful poetry. You can trust the slow process of walking forward, one painful step at a time. Let us leave the ancient Middle East. Let us leave the angry kings and the cold caves and the ancient desert battles. I want to bring this profound message directly into your real life. I want to travel across time and space and sit with you right now. Think about your own house. Think about the physical place where you struggle the most. For many people, it is the kitchen counter. It is exactly 2 in the morning. The digital clock on the stove is glowing in the dark. The entire house is completely silent. Everyone else is fast asleep. You are sitting at that kitchen counter in the dark. The refrigerator hums quietly in the background. You are staring at the smooth surface of the counter, tracing invisible lines with your tired finger. You are so unbelievably exhausted. Your eyes burn from staying awake. Your body desperately wants to rest. But your mind is spinning like a wheel that has lost its brakes. You cannot go back to bed because lying in the dark makes the strangling feeling worse. So you sit there in the quiet kitchen, waiting for a morning that feels like it will never come. In these 2 a.m. moments, the loneliness is crushing. You feel like you are the only human being awake on the entire planet. You feel separated from the normal world. The normal people are sleeping. The normal people have peaceful dreams. But you are trapped in a private nightmare of racing thoughts. You think about your empty bank account. You think about your physical health. You think about your family. You think about every awkward thing you said 10 years ago. The loud smoke alarm is ringing violently in your ears, and no one else can hear it. I want to speak very directly to your pain right now. I want to acknowledge how heavy this is. Your exhaustion is completely real. It is not just a fake idea in your head. You are carrying a massive bag of heavy rocks up a steep mountain, day after day. You have carried this weight for so long that your shoulders are bleeding, your hands are blistered and raw. You are using all your human energy just to appear normal at your job. You use all your energy just to smile at your friends. By the time midnight comes, you have absolutely nothing left. And this is exactly why modern advice hurts you so deeply. The modern world looks at your bleeding shoulders and says, just drop the bag. The modern internet looks at your exhaustion and says, just think positive thoughts. They tell you to buy a special relaxing candle. They tell you to drink a healthy green smoothie. They tell you to just manifest good happy energy. This is not helpful at all. This is toxic positivity. It is poison to a hurting soul. It makes you feel worse because it makes healing sound easy. It makes you feel stupid for struggling. Toxic positivity tells you that if you try hard enough, you will never feel sad again. But the ancient writers at the kitchen counter do not tell you that lie. Imagine the ancient poet, David, pulling up a wooden chair next to you at 2 in the morning. He does not tell you to force a fake smiley. He does not tell you to think happy thoughts. He simply sits in the quiet kitchen with you. He pours you a simple glass of water. He looks at your shaking hands, and he says, I know this tight coat. I know this terror. The ancient scripture offers deep emotional validation. It validates your hot tears. It validates your shaking bones. It says that the night is indeed very dark and very cold. It agrees with you that the world is a dangerous and scary place. It does not insult your human intelligence by pretending everything is perfect. The ancient texts wrap a warm arm around your tired shoulders and say, it is completely okay to be broken right now. It is okay to be exhausted. You do not have to put on a fake smile for heaven. Heaven already knows exactly how tired you are. This deep validation is the true beginning of healing. When you finally stop pretending, the high pressure starts to drop. You realize you are not a failure just because you have anxiety. You are just a fragile human being living in a very complicated and broken world. The terrible pressure to be perfect begins to melt away. You are allowed to sit at the kitchen counter and cry. You are allowed to admit that you do not have all the answers. You are allowed to be small. The creator of the universe is not angry with your smallness. He is deeply compassionate toward it. So tonight, if you find yourself back at that counter, I want you to remember this gentle conversation. I want you to look at the digital clock on the stove and remember that you are not alone. Millions of people are sitting at their own kitchen counters at exactly the same time. Millions of us are wearing the exact same tight coat. Millions of us are listening to the same loud smoke alarm. We are all walking through the dark corridor together. And the ancient voices are walking right beside us, holding small oil lamps to show us the next step. So let the kitchen counter be a safe place tonight. Let the quiet darkness be a warm blanket instead of a dangerous threat. You are just a person. You are just a human being, doing the best you can with a very heavy bag of rocks. The ancient voices are sitting right there, with you, in the quiet. They are offering you a cup of clear water. They are offering you a moment of pure, profound grace. Breathe in the quiet night air. Let the gentle grace wash over your tired, bleeding shoulders. We have traveled safely through ancient history. We have looked at old roots of words and deep human psychology. We have sat together in the lonely hours of the night. But now, we must look forward toward the morning. We must look at what you will actually do when the bright sun comes up. When you are carrying a very heavy burden of anxiety, big sudden changes are impossible. You cannot decide to completely change your life in one single day. Big goals will only create more panic. Big goals will make the smoke alarm ring much louder. We need a completely different strategy. We are going to use the rule of the micro-commitment. A micro-commitment is a tiny, frictionless step. Frictionless means it is so easy that nothing stops you. It is an action so small that it feels almost silly to do it. It is so easy that your tired brain will not fight it. Healing from deep anxiety does not happen through giant jumping. leaps. It happens through microscopic steps repeated over a long period of time. It is like tiny drops of water falling on a hard rock. One drop of water does nothing, but 1,000 drops of water, falling slowly over time, will carve a deep river into the solid stone. Tomorrow morning, I do not want you to solve your life problems. I do not want you to fix your money or repair all your broken relationships. I want you to leave those heavy boxes resting on the floor. Tomorrow morning, I want you to do exactly 3 tiny things. These 3 steps are your micro-commitments. They require almost zero energy from your body. They will take less than 2 minutes of your entire day, but they will begin to carve a new quiet river in the hard stone of your anxious mind. They will help you walk one more step forward in the dark corridor. Step 1. Pick a time. I want you to choose exactly 1 single minute in your morning routine. Maybe it is 7:15. Maybe it is 8:30. Maybe it is exactly when you finish brushing your teeth. Pick the specific minute tonight and lock it in your mind. Do not commit to an hour of quiet meditation. Do not commit to 30 minutes of hard reading. That is way too much pressure for a tired soul. Just pick 1 single minute. It is only 60 seconds. Anyone can survive 60 seconds. Choose your quiet minute right now. Step 2. Pick a chair. When your chosen minute arrives, tomorrow morning, I want you to physically sit down in a specific place. Do not stand up. Do not walk around the busy house. Find a physical chair. Maybe it is the wooden chair by the kitchen window. Maybe it is the soft chair in the corner of your bedroom. Sit down and place your feet completely flat on the ground. Feel the solid floor under your shoes. Feel the material of the chair supporting your tired back. Ground your physical body in the physical present reality. Step 3. Read 1 sentence. Just 1 single sentence. Do not read a whole heavy chapter of a book. Do not read a long confusing article. Find 1 ancient promise from the scripture. Find 1 sentence of pure truth. Maybe it is a sentence from the poet David, saying that heaven is very close to the broken-hearted. Read that single sentence slowly. Read it out loud, so your ears can hear your own human voice speaking truth. Let that 1 sentence fall into your mind like a single drop of clean water falling onto very dry dirt. Let it soak in quietly. Pick a time. Pick a chair. Read 1 sentence. That is the entire daily strategy. It is so incredibly simple, but it is profoundly powerful. It breaks the terrible cycle of panic because it forces you to pause the background application in your mind. For 60 seconds, you are not living in the terrifying future. You are not living in the shameful past. You are sitting in a chair, in the present moment, anchoring your soul to an ancient truth. If you do this tomorrow, you have won the day. You have taken 1 successful step in the dark corridor. You do not have to walk this dark corridor alone. There is a massive global community of people who are wearing the tight coat of anxiety, learning how to breathe again. We are all learning how to listen to the smoke alarm without breaking the glass. We are here at Simple Truth to provide the oil lamps for the long journey. We explore these ancient texts to find real psychological healing. Far away from modern toxic positivity, we want to keep walking beside you. We want to keep discovering these profound ancient maps together, week after week. If this message brought deep comfort to your tired shoulders today, please subscribe to the Simple Truth channel. Join our community of honest, growing souls. Hit the like button on this video, not just to support us, but to signal to the world that this truth needs to be shared. By liking this video, you might help it reach another tired person who is sitting at their kitchen counter at 2 in the morning. You might help deliver a cup of cold water to someone who is desperately thirsty in the middle of their own dark night. Think of a specific friend who struggles with the heavy weight of worry. Share this video directly with them. Send them a text message and say, "I thought of you, and you are not alone." Let us spread this deep, ancient empathy across the modern world. Let us replace the shallow advice with profound, simple truth. Remember, your anxiety is not a sin. It is an invisible drift. The hallway is very dark, but the door at the end is real. Pick a time. Pick a chair. Read 1 sentence. We will see you in the next step of the journey. This is not a quick fix. This is not simple magic. It is the slow, Beautiful work of deep healing. The anxiety might still be there tomorrow morning. The tight coat might still feel heavy on your chest, but you will be much stronger. You will have a clear strategy. You will have a micro-commitment, and most importantly, you will know that you are deeply loved and completely understood, exactly as you are right now. Pick a time. Pick a chair. Read one sentence. The morning is finally here. Step into the light.